All right, guys. Hold on. Let me get everything in order here. Okay, we got that. We got that. All right. Yeah, today I don't have a lot of time to stream today, but with what I wanted to talk about, it's like I have to stream at least for a little bit. We'll let again, we never know with Susan if there's actually such a thing as notifications, but in case there are, we'll let some more of them go out. But as soon, as soon as they do, I'll give you guys some details. Now I'm just almost without words for how ridiculous this particular offense is that people have found reason to complain about. We got Wolverine and Kaiser here, and Dr. Coomer, and Ocean Flame, Chrome's in, Empire Jeff, Krusty Bomb, Spaz, Dev, Ivan, CDV, and Jeff says oversimplified. Jeff, I gotta give you credit. You come up with the most obtuse comments of anybody I see. A big hunk of the time, I'll read one of your comments and it's like, "Yep, no idea." Hey, Arthur's here, and Jimbo, and Erwin. Oh, Chrome says, so we just got confirmation of the new Netflix live action Avatar show. The ship between Aang and Katara is going to be kind of creepy given the age difference. So what are we thinking about that whole concept of live action Avatar anyway? It just, for me anyway, with a lot of these different series, and particularly with anime series, yes, I know Avatar's not an anime, or particularly with anime series, it always sounds like a good idea, and then the execution takes place, and yeah, it's it should have been executed in a whole other concept. Shadow says, since the creators left it, I have no hope. Yeah, this is what I'm afraid of. That's why I never can get enthused about them. And there's just so many, obviously with the technology the way it is now and everything, the ability is there to make some good live action anime or live action series of this nature, but how come they never are able to do it? Chrome says they could have just had Dante Bosco replay Zuko. He never ages. Also, no word on good old Uncle Iroh. Oh, I love Uncle Iroh. Hold on, guys. I'm going to look at Chrome's link in a new window real quick. Oh. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. There's an extra word on the link. Yeah. All right, now let's try it. There we go. Netflix also will be playing Aang. Oh, the kid playing Aang certainly looks the part. Katara. Sokka. Zuko. I don't know. Casting looks good to me. I like this Gordon Cormier or Cormier, depending on how he says it. They had to put their pronouns into their headshots now. I guess that's surprising a little bit. I could have guessed all of those pronouns correctly. I'm good. Yeah, kid, the Cormier or Cormier kid looks the part. I like his look. Now, Jack says money is one reason they always get really low budgets, which sucks. You're right, especially with the with anime in general, with the significant amount of fandom that the genre has. It would be nice if they could put a little money into something. Collector's Arcade says, Curtis, execute Order 66. Shadowland says there's a smaller channel on YouTube called Reanime. Yes, I know them. That does the best live action anime scenes. I highly suggest. We have reaction videos to them, Shadow, and they've contacted me several times when they've released new videos. It's just I haven't been doing as many reaction vids lately. Okay, yeah, let's get right into it. If we have to repeat it, we will, because I don't have a ton of time to stream today. I read this article, and I'm going to talk about it, then I'll post the link to it, because before you guys read it, I want to hear your take. This was back at the end of June. This came out, and it's a Yahoo Entertainment article. And I don't want to. I will give you the link. I'll just quote passages from it. But apparently, I'm not a big James Corden fan. Nothing against him, just humor is subjective, and he's not that funny to me. Hold on just a second. Sinister Charlie says, "Sup, doggy? The new chapter of Berserk is coming out, so that's cool." Oh, that's extremely cool. Well, you guys know how I feel about Berserk. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff I got to catch up on right now, Charlie. But yeah, anything to do with Berserk, I'm amped for. But apparently James Corden does a bit on his show where they eat foods from other nations that would be gross to most Americans or most of the West, I guess. And they'll have guests on. They come eat the food. They talk about how disgusting it is, so on and so forth. Well, I guess that caused a major kerfuffle because do you understand how desperately you're hurting people's feelings when you don't like their food and you say it's gross? There are people that this is a delicacy to. My first instinct when I hear that is, who the fuck cares? Why on earth, other than to just for the honor of being offended, would you care if somebody else calls the food that you enjoy gross or not? I wouldn't care. I'm sure I eat plenty of things that other people would consider gross. Who gives a fuck? If nobody's stopping me from eating it, why do I care? But now it became such an issue, and I'll read from this article. Well, for instance, first it says, for several years, viewers have called out the CBS late night host for the bit in which celebrities must blah, 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 eat disgusting foods. The criticism is that traditionally Asian foods are being mocked, and it's offensive. Because they eat stuff that, to a majority of people in the West, that would be considered gross. That's fucking offensive now. But this, let me find all the details. I gotta get the name here. I'm looking for the name of this person who Syra. I'm trying to find I guess Asian foods. Okay, a change.org petition started by Kim Syra. I guess I'm pronouncing this right, not that it matters. It blew up the issue, leading to Corden to address the controversy and promise change. Now, there's your first mistake. People are complaining because you think their cuisine is gross, and you're worried about placating them. You're worried about making their fifis better. That's a big part of the problem. Corden's as big a part of the problem in this as the Syra who started the change.org petition. But it couldn't, now they're talking about him, Corden being on Howard Stern. So Corden came out and basically said, and I'm going to let you guys read the article. I don't want to just continue quoting for it. It's taking away their from it. It's taking away their clicks. Corden basically said, "Oh, okay. Well, if we do that again, we'll realign exactly how we do it." That wasn't good enough. This Syra says, after listening to what he said, this is a quote, "To be completely honest with you, I'm really disappointed in this statement, which in my opinion isn't an apology." What the fuck does he have to apologize for? Because he thinks that your food is gross? So what? How is that offensive? I just don't understand it. Nobody's telling you not to eat it. Nobody's trying to take it away from you. It's gross to a lot of us. So what? That's funny. I try and always put myself in the other person's position. If I was eating if there was a food, and there are foods here that are traditional American, and to other parts of the world that are gross, I would think that was funny. It's like, yeah, watch me eat it and suffer. Who cares? But then it doesn't get any better. Ingredients that Asians consider prized and expensive delicacies were being mocked. So who cares? What? And then they show the TikTok video that really got it started. This Kim Syra, whatever the hell the name is all in a hoodie and looking all just defeated and offended and Jesus Christ. But The petition called for the segment to be removed and revamped in a non-offensive way, and they actually listened to it. The best part is, and I got to give you the quote: "The foods presented the foods that are presented are meant to be gross, as they are supposed to encourage the guests to answer his questions. Instead, this person is really offended that not only did they not get the appropriate apology, but this person thinks that Corden and their production company should be donating to Asian people." Let me get you the. Let's see. Let's see if I can find that part where during these segments, blah blah blah. The petition called for the segment to be removed and revamped in a non-offensive way, a formal apology on the show, and a donation to local Asian American organizations that are working to help Asian-owned restaurants and small businesses. I guess I'm just as bad because I'm offended that they're offended. I'm going to give you guys the link right now, but I want to discuss this. I want to see what you guys think. I would love to have somebody here tell me why this is offensive and I should do anything but just mock these people for it. Here's the link to the article. Yes, apologize and give money to Asians for not liking a food. Absolutely, Jack. That's exactly what it is. Because they're offended. It's a delicacy to us. Hold on, let me catch up on super chats. This one killed me. Guys, go check out that article. Arthur says, "I love American fast food, but most of the world is fat and sugar in the shape of food," and they're not wrong. I don't get offended. They have a point. I still like it. And the thing is, nobody's telling you not to eat it. If somebody else thinks it's gross, so what? Hey, if they want to make a TV show about people being grossed out by all the fat and cholesterol and garbage that's in our food, go ahead. I'll probably watch it. I'll think it's funny while I eat a quarter pounder. Brian says, "You know what offends me? Liberals." Brian says. But this, I will say this. This to me stretches even farther than like typical liberal taking offense to something. This is just next level. Big Green says, "I'm offended that this is the state of the world." I couldn't agree with you more. I'm just looking to see if anybody actually agrees with them. And by all means, feel free to go ahead and do so. Lick says, "Fun fact, Curtis, American produce meat is actually banned from being sold in the UK due to how polluted it is." I don't blame you guys for that. Hey, it's good to see you, Licks. I wouldn't blame you guys for that. Doesn't offend me. I'm still going to eat that crap. Zurzul says, "What offends me? Susan and trains." Yeah. We're in that one together. Krusty Bomb says, "Man, it's things like this that make me glad I live in the Middle East. What the fuck is this bullshit?" Mr. Shank says, "I think it's really dumb." I just can't imagine. And again, it's just a product of the society, this portion of our society that just so desperately wants to be offended. Because taking offense to something earns you so many brownie points. Oh, are brownies offensive? Brownie points in that echo chamber. They're calling that food gross and disgusting. I guess it's like 1,000-year-old eggs and stuff or some shit that they ate. Yeah, that's. I think that's fucking gross. So what? Why are you offended by it? Why do you care if I think it's gross? Well, then people won't patronize these Asian restaurants in America. If the people watching thought it was gross to begin with, they probably weren't going to patronize it. And I would disagree. I would honestly, and I say this sincerely, I think watching a show like that is more likely to make people who were never inclined to try something like that go out and do it, even if it's on a dare. And then it's up to you to prove that your food tastes good and it isn't gross. Gross. Brian says, "I'm also offended aliens won't talk to us." I wish they would, or at least the government of being honest with us about it. Hashtag Area 51 is legit. Yeah, we're going to have we'll have another alien conversation stream soon. Excuse me, I like doing those. They never get old. Special says, "I'm offended. Donate to my GoFundMe to compensate me." And Arthur says, "Colors are offensive." Josh says, "West Virginia Wesleyan College is going to charge a $750 fee to students that are unvaccinated or unable to present a vaccine ID by September 7th. I, I'm torn on that one. I do believe colleges have the right to require vaccination on campus because all of the ones I know of are offering distance learning to those who won't. I'm not sure about why about pay. That's almost amounts to a fine, and I'm not for fining people unless they're saying is the $750 to pay for the tests that they're going to need throughout the course of the year. I don't know that the money makes me concerned. I don't have a concern with limiting your campus life to those who have been vaccinated, but I would have a concern with something that is, for lack of a better term, a fine for not being vaccinated. Yeah, exactly. Lick says, "Give me all your money. I'm claiming to be offended by something that have nothing to do with me or anything else." And that at the end there, not only, first of all, the fact that Corden and the production company responded to this in any way but with mockery and derision is absolutely asinine to me, and probably proves why I've never found James Corden to be funny. Because again, funny is subjective, and he sound to me apologizing for, well, he didn't even apologize, but making changes to your show based on this just proves you're a pussy as far as I'm concerned. So that's probably why I never liked him to begin with. But then this person who put together the petition bitches that it wasn't enough of an apology, it wasn't an apology at all, and wants donations for their offense. Life's going to be hard for you, kid, because you're going to find out that the vast majority of people, don't give a flying fuck when you're offended. Arthur says rainbow equals offensive. It implies non-white sticks out. Don't get somebody started, Arthur. They'll take that and run with it for sure. Nakomi says, I'm offended that I'm not allowed to identify as an attack helicopter without being shot down. I'm stunned. I mean, I keep thinking that society can't get any more ridiculous with this overly offended nature, but they do. And I'm going to keep searching for these articles, and we'll keep having conversations about them. As far as I'm concerned, the best way to deal with this part of culture, with this part of society, with the looking to be offended, with the being offended over everything, is just with mockery and derision. Just laugh at them, whether it's online or in real life. If somebody's offended because somebody else decided to poke fun at the fact that certain food from other areas is gross to us, just laugh and point at them. Who cares? I mean, they aren't deserving of being taken seriously in any way, shape, or form. Lute says it'd be bad by itself, but what really gets to me is they gave money to people because they considered it offensive. What fucking universe am I living in that earned money is given away to snowflakes? I'm stunned, Lute. I read that one, and again, I keep thinking, basically, for lack of a better term, I've seen it all, or that I'm insulated to this because you see so much idiocy in the things that offend people. But then you find something like this, and it's like, yep, they managed to take it even further. Kyle says, I'm offended that Nami won't let Brooke see her panties. Me too. And nobody's signing a change.org petition about that. And with all the way Brooks come through, especially lately where I am, for those of you who don't know, I'm watching One Piece over at the Goosh, our Patreon. With all the way Brooks come through lately, the least she could have done is finally show him some panties. Yeah, I agree. Chrome says, I didn't like Corden since I saw him in Doctor Who. I didn't know he was in Doctor Who. He was really unfunny. For some reason, they gave him 2 dedicated episodes. He beat the Cybermen trying to convert him with the power of love. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah. I never found him funny. And again, not that I don't say in any way, shape, or form to try and demean James Corden. I'm the first one to admit comedy is subjective. A lot of people don't find me funny, too. But that's just, he's not my cup of tea. Kaiser says, I take offense to that remark. Well, I take offense to you taking offense to that remark. Rabble, 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 rabble. You've insulted me for the last time, Jeffrey. I challenge you to fisticuffs. It's well put, Kaiser. That's about the long and short of it. Angela says, Curtis, I'm in lockdown again. COVID just hit my street. Wish me luck and sorry to hear that. I'm sorry, Angelina. I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. Oh, that's too bad, Angelina. That sucks. Well, you guys know how I feel about that. Mass social distancing, fine. I don't think lockdowns make a significant difference. I don't think it makes even a minimal difference. Arthur says Big Mom was ready to show him something, something. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was. Her freaking eating everybody was just, oh man. Brian says, I thought you kept saying James Gordon, trying to remember when the commission was on non-DC shows. Nah, good old James Corden. Again, he just never struck me as funny. But now, again, even if I had watched this show, that would put me off it. Just bowing to something as ridiculous as this. There's 45,500 signatures on that petition and growing. So, it's a drop in the bucket. And do you know how many of those people will sign anything? If you, again, as long as you're offended by something, all you have to do is take it to any one of the many "we're proud to be offended" echo chambers on the internet, and you can get plenty of signatures. So they don't give a shit what it is. They're just looking for another reason to be offended and to console one another and hold one another in their arms because somebody didn't like their food. Let's see. Nakomi Yoso says, I'm offended when I listen to J-pop. I'm creep, but the entire world can fall for K-pop groups and it's socially acceptable. Yeah, well, not a, you guys know how I am about K-pop. Not a fan. It's bubblegum to me. Okay, I'm lost, Jack. I didn't see that. Again, he didn't write that episode. Don't get me wrong. I'm not even a fan. I'm just confused by these attempts to discredit him going on in chats. But that's I'm lost. I just didn't see everything that came before it. That's all, Jack. The Bester says this stream is offensive because I don't want to be in the minority of people who are offended and need something to be offended about. I thought that I again, just from knowing you guys, and this has nothing to do with political leanings. Nobody can make me believe that. When you get this egregious, this far out there, I think that crosses the political divide to where, regardless of your political affiliation, you can look at the circumstances around this and go, yeah, that's pretty fucking stupid right there. Lex says, I saw a video where a black woman was giving a presentation to a bunch of white people about how all white people are racist, and she had a link to her PayPal in big letters throughout the whole thing. Oh, I'm sure. Pay me those reparations. And I'm sure there are plenty of folks that went, I'll do it. I'm sorry. Because people like to, there's a lot of people that like to apologize for things they had nothing to do with. Chimera says, I am offended at how you drink water. You need to put your lips directly on the cup. I'm going to go buy the petition now. Oh, I'm fucked. I always liked slugging water that way. You know how I got used to that? In all the different sports I played and stuff, a lot of times, you'd have a Gatorade or a couple of waters or something like that. And if there wasn't enough for anybody to share them, so everybody would take and pour it into their mouth rather than put their lips on it so you don't get washback. And or backwash. And it's just something I used to, and I drink that way all the time. Because obviously, once you put it to your lips, whatever you drink, a lot of your saliva washes back into the cup or the bottle or whatever. So because of that, I got used to the pour method where you just dump it in. Devin says it's almost like the sins of the father will never leave the mind of people. You're right, Devin. But again, there's a lot of people that are just really desperate for anything about which to be offended. Chrome says they cancel people for wearing chonga. I don't know chongsums. Chongsums. I don't know what that is. Chrome, or having dreadlocks. They'll take offense to anything. Ironic, given the whole multiculturalism thing. Yeah, I've never really understood that either. In a lot of cases, with the appropriating someone's culture. And again, I mean this sincerely. I always thought that was kind of honoring someone else's culture. It's like, whatever it is, the form of dress, style of hair, whatever. If somebody else is looking at it and going, "Wow, that looks really cool. I'd like to do that too." I thought you're honoring them. No. Or is it just, is that the case and we just have to be offended by stuff? Because it just seemed to me, if it was dreadlocks, whatever it may be, if there are people out there who are saying that dreadlocks are a thing among the black community and anybody else is appropriating their style, to me, I would view it as if somebody does it, it's because they admire your style. Isn't that complimentary? No? And I asked that question genuinely. Am I missing something there? Oh, okay. Yeah, I do remember that now that Lude says. I think that's one of those dresses that girl on Twitter got bullied over when she wore it to prom. Okay, yes, then I agree 100%. Same thing there. If there's a style of dress that's traditional in some country or amongst any group, however it may be, whether it's by your religion, your nationality or color, and somebody else wants to wear that style as well, isn't that saying that I think that looks good? I think that's an attractive style. I would like to be able to wear that. I just thought that's complimentary. saw saw why TV says if you don't get offended in 2021, you're a cunt. So apparently, it's the new fetish to be offended. You're not wrong. It's gotten really over the top. Wolf says, I'm going to be honest, in these East Coast weather, I wouldn't mind wearing a turban. Turbans are cool. Yeah. Holy shit, it's hot these last couple days here. Wolf, woo, I'm not sure exactly where you are, but in upstate New York, this is as hot as we ever get. Fortunately, it's supposed to calm down starting Saturday. It is fucking hot. Oh no. Chrome says they're even trying to get rid of the word curry in some circles now because it's colonialism. It's not. It's a variation on the Indian word, and yet cheongsam is the Chinese dress. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, cheongsam is the Chinese dress. Okay, gotcha. And that's the problem. There's just far too many people that are willing to play the game, play along, because they don't want a Twitter mob to come after them, and they don't want to seem like they're not woke. So when somebody becomes offended at something benign or something ridiculous, there are too many people that are automatically wired to say, oh, you poor thing, let me make you feel better, your feelings were hurt. In general, just as a general rule, who gives a fuck if somebody's offended? I've been offended before. So what? I moved on. If I see something that offends me, I move on. I don't get offended by much. I grant you very little. So I'm not the best case study. But even in our joke streams, have we ever had jokes that hit me to where it's like, ooh, yeah, that's not one I would have told? Yeah, absolutely. Could I still get a chuckle out of it? Yeah, because just because something is offensive doesn't mean it can't be funny too. But even if I do get offended by something, particularly anything within the entertainment arena, I've got an easy solution. I don't watch it or listen to it. I don't feel a need to make sure that everybody knows that I'm offended, or I don't have a desire to make sure nobody else can partake. I guess I don't do 2021 right. Arthur says, next comment. If me and my childhood friends' Discord ever became public, we'd be canceled so hard we'd have to stand trial. I had a friend of mine, and I won't say his name because I don't know. I haven't talked to him in some time, and I don't want to bring him in by association. But he's a black man, and he was a good friend of mine. And some of the gimmicks and ideas we would try and come up with in the locker rooms about stuff we were going to do in the ring. Yeah, by today's standards, we'd both be hung out to dry. we both had a sense of humor about our particular races, put it that way, or individual races. What's going on? Are we not? Is Streamlabs screwing up? I don't see now, oh, there goes Brian's. Okay, Brian's did go through. Just taking forever. Because I see Arthur's stream boss, and it's like I didn't know if it was still keeping track. Brian says China getting offended by John Cena was kind of the hump that broke the camel's back to me. That, especially when he's particularly difficult to see anyway. Good point. Yeah, what was more offensive to me, Brian, was how quickly he pussed out on the whole thing. Jack says, next comment, pretty please. Okay, Jack, I'll watch for Wick says, I'm going to say a swear. Don't forget, guys, to watch for Jack's next comment. I keep healing myself on accident, Arthur says. I'm just reading as I go here. Oh, and Jack took over as Stream Boss. I love that icon pic. Big Green says, yeah, in the last joke stream, in fact, I think it was some kind of people of color joke that you went, ooh, like that, because some of your friendships, you still thought that was funny, though. Right. I think I do vaguely remember. You're right, Big Green. I had forgotten about that specific one. So I guess because it did hit me in a way that was close to home, you could call that offended. But again, so who cares if I'm offended? And it was still funny. It was still a joke, and it was still funny. Was it a joke I would tell if I had the ability to remember it? No. Would I find it a little offensive? Yeah, but who cares? So what? That's the thing that gets me. So who gives a fuck if it offended me? Jesus. Hold on, I'm watching for Jack's post. Krusty says, I think Western society has grown too pampered. I completely agree. That's why they're offended by virtually everything. Sometimes proper conflict is necessary to keep insanity at bay, and this is the perfect example. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Jack says, Major Look, take your top off. It's not showing the rest of my comment because YouTube is gay. I will say too, it seems like just from what you guys are telling me in the streams here, I think the censorship is getting more and more severe too. Oh, yay. Thanks, YouTube. Big Green says you maybe got slightly offended, but given that you found it funny, I wouldn't consider you having been offended. Yeah, it's hard to actually outright offend me. You're probably not wrong. I can be slightly offended, because the one thing that will set me off, and you guys know this, is disrespect in general. But even when someone's disrespectful, I don't think that would be classified as offensive. It would just be classified as unacceptable, and there's a difference. And even then, if somebody is disrespectful, I don't need to tell anybody else about it. I'll tell them about it. I don't need to cry to the world that I was disrespected or somebody I care about was disrespected. I'll handle it. I'll let the person know. I don't have a problem with that. I don't need a shoulder to cry on. I don't need anybody to feel bad for me. Yarborough says, I'm offended by people that get offended by non-offensive things. I know, and then we end up the most offended because of that, Yarborough. Oh, Jack says it was a colorful description of why I wanted to see his top off. Needless to say, not for the eyes of the pure or moral or the elderly. I actually have a question about that. Where do you draw the line between offensive humor and disrespectful? That's interesting. I don't think you can draw a definitive line. But for me, when I say disrespectful, a lot of times that has nothing to do with humor. It's just in the way you approach something. Trying to give you a good example. As far as disrespectful humor, I don't even think for me those two words work together. Because just like that joke, okay, if I find that offensive, I don't find that disrespectful. I just think that it's not something because of my own life experiences that I would approve of. That doesn't mean, as I said, it can't be funny. It made me chuckle. It just means I wouldn't repeat it, and it's not something that I would support outside of, okay, it gave me a chuckle. But disrespect comes in the form of the way people approach you, or you guys have seen me go off in here. If somebody comes in here, and even more likely than towards me, towards one of our regulars here, somebody says something that's disrespectful, I get pissed off and I'll go off. And I'll say absolutely everything and anything I can to try and gouge that person's figurative eyeballs out. That's just, it goes from 0 to 100 with me. We've seen it a couple times in here. Arthur says, next post. If you can't laugh at yourself, then you're going to live a miserable life. I agree with that completely. Live and let live and make fun of each other. That makes for a happy population. Right, and you're right, Arthur, and there's such a huge difference between actually attacking someone and making light of whether it's stereotypes or mannerisms or something like that. I mean, but again, when you get points for being offended, it changes the game. Amarwal says they even blocked viewing PewDiePie for reviewing the ban of the Winnie the Pooh of their leader. That cracks me up how offended he is by that whole Winnie the Pooh thing. I love that. Bylove says my body hurts. I don't want to move, but my bed is calling me. I was living that yesterday, Bylove. Back's better today. I'll tell you, Alev's a champion at that. That's the only thing that's been getting me back, and it's rare. It's really rare for me to take pain medicine. I don't like taking medicines. But I've been taking Aleve today just because if I didn't have this chair, I'd really be screwed because it's got the lumbar support, the chair that Spaz Kid, my wife, got for me. But it would be, when I watch videos and I record videos, I don't want to be distracted by my back constantly, sticking me with a knife. So the Aleve takes it down enough to where I can really focus on what I'm doing. Big Green says, I think the only line for me would be if the person making the joke was legitimately racist or awful in some way. Like if they made a black people joke and went, yeah, fuck those N-words after. Yeah, and for me, Big Green, I think more than offended, I take note. Because I have that happen in my own, in day-to-day life all the time. When somebody is willing to throw, because you guys know, I've always said I don't even believe in the concept of curse words. I think it's asinine. That certain words are dirty and words that mean the exact same thing are cutesy. The one word I don't use is the N-word because it doesn't exist for any other reason than to demean others. So if someone else uses it, I wouldn't say I'm offended as much as I take note. Because it's just, and even with my bad memory, it's something that sticks. And it's like, okay, now for any conversation, any interaction I have with you in the future, I know something about you that I find to be unsavory. I guess. So I don't know if that means I'm offended, but it means I've definitely taken notice and I have a specific way that I feel about you based on that. I got offended today, Lick says. Sexually offended. That is, asked for seconds too. Hey, my love. Susan having a field day with me today. Anyone else? Jack says. Yeah, it does seem like it's getting worse, Jack. The censorship does. There's no chance this. We know that for a fact, and I lived in denial of this for the longest time. You guys have been with me for it, but this channel is singled out for a lot. I mean, you look at even some of the. Because I remember back in the day now, I enjoy these 15 and 60-second videos, the YouTube Shorts things, because it's fun. Whenever I see something that entertains me, makes me laugh, or I think of that just like what happened with my wife the other day in the market, I like sharing that with you guys, and I'll continue to do that. But just having experience back in the days of this channel before we were shadow banned, if I had titled a video anything like that, what I did the other day about the whole thing with my wife, and it's a short video, that would have gotten several thousand views in the first day just because people were curious as to what happened to me. And it's it's a 1 minute devotion of your time to find out what it was. The simple fact is, the channel now, they just don't allow the word to go out. So I'm going to continue fighting and posting what I want to post, and we'll see where it all ends up. If it weren't for, that's where I'm so fortunate I have our Goosh crew, because the Goosh allows me to continue being here at YouTube as well, because what they've done to us here is just decimated us. Samara says, I remember some Christian unironically said that I was possessed by a demon because I'm gay. I've heard that before too, pal. Would you classify that shit as offensive, Curtis? They were 100% serious. Well, what I deem it as offensive, or could I see where it is offensive? Could I see where it would offend someone? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If you say you're offended by it, I would completely understand that. It takes a lot to offend me because I'm very, very much, I learned this a long time ago. I'm not saying this should be the way for anybody, but okay, let me try and put myself in your position. If I were gay and someone said that, I don't know if you'd call it offended. I would probably laugh at them only because I learned a long time ago that considering the source is the most important thing in the world. And if somebody says that to me, I would just say, that's a stupid fucking hillbilly right there. I would way rather be touching other guys' peepees than fucking sheep like you. That would be more my reaction. Is that disrespectful? Yes. So I don't know. I guess it all depends on how you define the word offended. I would say something back in the then and now, but that's the way I am. I'm a confrontational person, and I know a lot of people aren't. So I don't know. I guess it depends on how you define the word. Kaiser says, I'm offended because the Gundam didn't vaporize the losers of the Olympics. We need to bring back that kind of penalty. That'll make the Olympics more awesome. COVID will be the least of their problems. Yeah. Wolverine says, do gingers make good soul food from stolen souls? I don't see why not. That's the kind of soul food I would try, especially since I don't have a soul. Are neutral countries protecting their own interest offensive? Neutral countries protecting their own interest? No, you'd have to be more specific, Jeff, but I don't see how. I don't see how that'd be offensive. Dunks says, I wish I was black. I would have the phrase, you're a racist, and the ability to use it to empower myself regardless of what happens. Well, I think, though, Dunks, you can make that case for a lot of phrases for a lot of different people. Are there people that play the race card even when it's not appropriate? Absolutely. But however you want to break down a group of people, there will always be unsavory types in every group who are going to, whether it's feel offended or lash out unwarrantedly. That's going to happen in every group. I mean, so you could say, I wish I was black so I could play this card. Well, trust me, there's plenty of white people that play cards that shouldn't even be in the deck as well. Chrome says, by the way, did you see Kodansha, the people who made Konosuba, and a lot of other manga are going to now handle translating their own stuff. They'll be able to get around censorship and Apple now. Oh, that's cool. No, I didn't see that. That's very cool. That's very cool. Cheap Jumpscare says, to Wolverine, as a ginger myself, I can honestly tell you, it depends on the soul you're using. Well, like I say, I never realized when I was younger that being a ginger precluded me from having a soul. But I think, though, my actions in life and the way I look at life would not allow me to have one either. So I had no chance. Idiota says, I play the goddamn no you card. Yara says they should have one random person from the audience participate in each round, heat, tourney in the Olympics. It'd be a great benchmark and would probably increase audience attendance. That's actually kind of funny. You put in one random. That's pretty good. You put in one random normie in with all these world class athletes. I see what you're saying, just to show the difference in what the Olympians can do as opposed to a schlub sitting on the couch. No worries, Arthur. No worries at all. He says, next post again. Arthur said, I would not be offended. It's their spiritual belief and is no different to me than any other superstitious belief or personal view, like vegans not eating meat, as long as they don't force it on you. Yeah, and for me, it's not offensive because I don't care what they think. I've always said that. It's just like stuff at the channel. I get harsh comments all the time. Most of them I laugh at. Sometimes I'll go back and just have at it with people because I like doing that. Now, if it were one of you guys who are regulars here, who I talk to on almost a daily basis, who we have all, have real, I mean, you guys mean something to me. If you had something to say to me about something I was doing that's undesirable or wrong or this, that, or the other, I would pay attention to it because just like you would anybody else you consider a friend, it's like, well, they wouldn't say that unless there was a reason. So I want to at least have a conversation and find out why you think that. But some random drive-by in the chat says something to me, I couldn't care less what their opinion is. It's all the more reason to just laugh at them and poke fun at them. What the fuck do I care what they think of me? So that would be more my reaction. And again, doesn't matter if it's on here or in real life. If I were a gay person, somebody came up and said that to me, I'd laugh at them and I'd fire back at them. I'd say, yeah, well, I'd still rather touch a human penis than fuck a sheep asshole like you do. That would be my response, something along those lines. Philip says, I actually once got called a redneck by an SJW coworker. I grew up in a rural area and come from a working class family. Personally, I see it more as a badge of an honor than an insult. Yeah, and again, I'm the same way, Philip. And as you say, if you know this coworker to be a hardcore SJW, I have no respect for their opinions anyway. So it would just be an opportunity for me to fire back and try and demean them just out of sport. Z-Saying says, has anyone seen the South Park episode where Cartman pretends he's retarded? Yes, to participate in the Special Olympics with a chance of a lot of money and comes dead last in every race. Yeah, yes, that's an early one. I remember that one. Yeah, do you like the training montage where he's training to look and act mentally challenged? Bingo, I think he says, or something like that. Or and then they just keep whipping his ass and everything. That's the steroid episode. Willie says, I had a guy tell me that my ancestors owned slaves because I'm white, even though most of my family came from Canada and moved to New York in the 1890s. And that's the thing, Willie. Even if you did, so what? Are all of us supposed to be responsible for what people we never met in our bloodlines did? Hell, I'm not even responsible for people in my bloodlines that live today. They do their own thing. I mean, it's ridiculous to even suggest that someone should be responsible for the actions of someone that has no association with them other than blood. That's as I've said many times, and I believe this fully. Your family is thrust upon you. You choose your friends. Oh, unfortunately, I got to go, guys. This is going to be a short one today. I've got to go up. Brax's car is over at the garage again. Getting some more work done before he goes back to school this weekend. So I had to take him to work this morning. Now I got to go pick him up at 3:00. But I really wanted to, I saw that article and I just had to bring it here for you guys. We're going to have more conversations like this because I've seen a couple more articles along those lines and I want to get your take on it. And anything, I've just had enough of the perpetually offended society. It'll probably eventually get us problems here at the channel, but I don't care. We're going to be able to talk about them. Arthur says, I'm half Irish. Many of my ancestors were slaves. A lot of people forget that, Arthur. A lot of people conveniently forget that there were Irish slaves, and there were Irish slaves in this country. Mistress says, I'm offended by this stream, only 45 minutes. You got to go start a petition, Mistra. Understandable. Guys, thanks for this. No sticky stuff today because I've decided on Thursdays, sticky stuff by that time is in such a process of production for Free For All Fridays. I don't like to thin out the Free For All Friday sticky stuff at all. That needs to always remain the highest quality. And at my age, I got to be careful. Philip says, that was only a part of a long list of insults she hurled at myself and my other coworkers. She sabotaged herself right then and there. Yeah. And like I say, Philip, if anything, again, just because of my nature, I would be willing to talk back. And I would go back and forth with them just to try and mock and demean them because I don't like them. I don't, it'd be a case of I don't even know you. Well, you did know her in this case, but I barely know you, but I know I don't fucking like you. So if you want to have a go round about something, let's do it because your opinion doesn't matter to me. If it was from somebody who did matter, I wouldn't lash back. I'd take that information and be like, if it came from you, Philip, I mean, how long have we known each other? We know a lot about one another. We become friends. If you said something to me, if you come to me and say, Curtis, you know what you did the other day? That was really fucked up. I'm not going to lash back at you. I'm going to be like, well, why do you think, what did I do? Why do you think that? I'd honestly want to learn. But coming from some random SJW that I barely know, yep, we're going to go around. Spaz Junior stream, Wolverine says. No, I'm not letting Spaz Chair Junior. And this is the Spaz Chair legend. This one deserves legacy status. Not like that other asshole that had to get cut up at the end. That was the best conclusion to anything we've had at this channel. Was when Spaz Chair got slashed up by the katana and thrown in the dumpster. But guys, thank you for the stream. Tune in tomorrow for Free For All Friday stream. The sticky stuff is gonna be freaking awesome. Oh yeah, I can feel it. It's bubbling in there now. That or that could be a disease. Well, one way or the other, as long as the disease doesn't kill me before tomorrow, it's going to be some great sticky stuff. Thanks for this conversation. This was a lot of fun. We're going to be doing lots more of these, and I will talk to you guys really soon, because unless something extraordinary happens, you guys know it's Free For All Friday. We don't miss those. I'll see you guys tomorrow.